This morning I'm sitting here with Will Barker, co-founder of Mint Innovation. Will, I know that you're really pressed for time, so thank you for making the time to sit with us this morning.
Welcome.
So there's been a lot of headlines that I've noticed about Mint Innovation, and obviously a lot has gone into it before this moment where we're actually noticing in the public arena. So can you tell us, what is Mint Innovation?
Sure. So maybe before I talk about Mint, talk about myself a little bit. So I've been involved in clean tech, climate tech for getting on for 20 years now. And about 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to start looking at interesting waste streams and interesting products. And so when we started Mint, we were looking at, in particular, an interesting product, gold in the first instance. Gold and other valuable metals that can be recovered from waste streams. So we were looking at waste streams that contain gold, copper, tin, palladium, those sorts of metals, and looking at how we might be able to develop a technology for recovering those metals. So I kind of, my background's kind of commercial, so I spent some time working out if we had a technology, what could be possible with that technology. Recognize a really interesting opportunity in the market that is taking printed circuit boards and recovering, in the first instance, gold and copper, palladium, tin, silver, interesting metals from what is actually a hazardous and toxic waste stream. And recognize the key opportunity there is actually building really low-cost, distributed local plants where you can recover that value in the urban environments where those waste streams are produced. So, we've all carried around cell phones, laptops that are going to become a waste stream very quickly. Yeah. We throw them away in an urban environment. So if we want to recover the value of that waste, it needs to be done in an urban environment. So we developed technology to address that. It's been a pretty stereotypical venture-funded journey from foundation 7 years ago. Kind of raised a little bit of money, test tube, proof of concept, bit more money, pilot plant, bit more money, demo plant, and we've recently built our first commercial plant in Sydney for recovering those valuable metals from all of Sydney's waste streams. So that's us. That's Mint.
That's epic. That's very cool. I was reading some of the releases that you guys have put out about the amount of energy required to harvest the gold naturally from the earth versus recovering it from these otherwise bound for landfill or waste products. Yep. So can you talk us through that?
Yeah. So gold. Look, 100 years ago, you might be able to find gold lying around in gold-rich gold fields, but over the last 100 years, we've mined the Earth's resources almost to depletion. These days, to mine, let's say, a kilogram of gold, you have to dig out the ground tens of thousands of tons of rock, and then smash all that rock up. Then you use cyanide to recover the gold, and obviously has not only a massive environmental impact, but it's also got a massive carbon footprint. So for every kilogram of gold, you're producing about 22 tons of CO2. So our process is this kind of this green local solution that is using low cost, low carbon chemicals and biological process to recover gold, and it's over 90% more carbon efficient than so for every kilogram of gold, you're saving over 90% of the carbon that would be produced if you're digging out of the ground.
And then, as we walked through your plant, we were talking about the other offshoots of that. So you've taken out the precious metals, and what's left is the original plastics.
Yep. So I'll just talk about the process a little bit. So you think about a circuit board. Well, you think about a laptop. So a laptop goes for recycling. We don't recycle that. There's recyclers who are already doing that. E-waste recyclers. They take a laptop, they break it down into a plastic stream, a steel frame stream, a battery stream, and a circuit board stream. We take the circuit board, and it's the green board that I think everybody's familiar with. It's covered in metals. As a circuit board, it's actually a hazardous material, and if it goes into landfill, pollutes the waterways, primarily with lead, copper, zinc. So what we do is we strip off all those metals from that kind of the green board matrix, and once all the metals are off it, it's now an inert substrate that can be used in building materials. But most importantly, we recover all the metals. We recover the gold as a pure product. We recover the copper as a pure product. Tin, silver, palladium. All the other metals are collected as a mixed product, but can be sold. And all of the waste streams or byproduct streams that are produced in the process can all be used in building manufacturing, for example. So an entirely closed circular solution.
Beautiful. So when you're getting an idea like this off the ground, what are some of the most difficult things you experienced?
Yeah, look, I've been involved with climate-y clean tech startups for the last 20 years, and so it's not a well-trodden path, but it is an understood pathway to scale a technology. Kind of the proof of concept stage is using a small R&D team who have particular skills in your area of technology. That's there's a cost to that, so you need to raise money in order to do that. So typically the hardest thing around kind of developing that technology, other than the technical risk that you face as you grow the technology, typically the hardest thing is raising money. But you're doing it in a way that's kind of phased along with the scaling of the technology. So that first cash raise is relatively small, and you're looking for investors who are interested in that kind of really early stage, really risky space. And then as you grow, as you get kind of move from that proof of concept to the piloting phase, which is bigger, needs more money, you're starting to move into the venture capital world. And again, because it's a reasonably well-trodden path, just not many people do it. But it's kind of my background's raising capital. So for me, knocking on these doors is relatively straightforward. But it is probably the most daunting piece for a lot of people following this pathway.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And so, as I say, you've achieved the plant in Sydney. You've been named on the WEF 100 Pioneers at the moment, and you've just closed off an enormous $60 million Series C cash raise.
Yes.
Each one of those things is just a massive achievement in their own right, and then together they're huge. And these announcements are almost coming out thick and fast, but all of this, there's so much that's gone into it prior to this moment for you. 7 years. Absolutely,
and it all comes down to the team. I don't do 99% of this, and I am the public face of the company, but the team is the ones who are all firstly developing the technology. As we scale the technology, it kind of moves from R&D to real world. So process engineers, is that we've got a huge and very, very successful, a very talented engineering team who build that. And as you're moving from kind of that initial design to detailed design, ready to build plants, you need your commercial team as well. So we've built the team, and it's really them who enable all this. They're the ones who do all the hard work.
That's a beautiful segue. Actually, one of my questions is, how are you getting the best out of the people around you? So there's the team, but there's also stakeholders and the public. And,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, team. It's an interesting area that I work in. Clean tech, climate tech. I think everybody recognises, it's not just climate change; it is climate emergency. And so I think a lot of people with technical backgrounds these days are looking to become part of the solution for the future. People are becoming a little more averse to accepting the status quo. We are on a downhill slide from a climate perspective. Look at those fires in Maui today. It's absolutely frightening.
Yeah.
And so people are, wanting to do something that's good for the world. And so Mint really provides that. We really enable that. So we whenever we advertise a job, a role, we get an enormous number of applicants. They're always very, very high quality, and so we are able to pick and choose. And one of the I guess most exciting dynamics for me in this company is a young, hungry, enthusiastic, climate savvy team who really want to make a difference. That enables them to kind of work hard get the most out of what we're trying to develop. And look, from my end, I get a kick out of being able to offer that opportunity. So that's great. From I guess a stakeholder perspective, again, recognise it. People do. It's become ubiquitous. Everybody now acknowledges there's a climate emergency. So in developing a technology solution that is there for making the world a better place, it's actually becoming more and more straightforward to have those conversations with council, have those conversations with it's a green solution. Everybody wants it, so we are pushing against an open door, which is handy because it's hard doing what we do. So
yes, yeah. I think that shared purpose, gets everybody cheering you on and doing what they can do to lower those barriers for
absolutely, exactly.
So, what next for Mint Innovation?
Yeah, so we're currently commissioning our commercial plant in Sydney, and that's going very well, and is going to start ramping up to full production this year, by the end of this year. But for us, it's really about world domination. We want to. The whole point of this technology is being able to build low-cost distributed plants at the point where these waste streams are produced. So you can build these plants in every city around the world. And that's exactly what we intend to do. The money that you talked about earlier, the Series C cash raise is basically earmarked for doing exactly that. Whilst we're getting Sydney up and running and operational, we are working out where the next low-hanging fruit for us building plants is. We're looking across the US, we're looking across Europe, and working out, where's going to be easiest for us to deploy next. But the long-term plan is literally having these plants everywhere. That's circuit boards. What we recognise as a company we're good at is recovering interesting metals from challenging waste streams. So circuit boards is kind of the first cab off the rank. We can also look at lithium-ion batteries, recover lithium, cobalt, nickel from lithium-ion batteries. Incinerator bottom ash. It's not big in this part of the world, but in Europe, everybody burns all their rubbish and it's full of nasties. The ashes are full of nasties. We're able to recover the same metals from incinerator bottom ash as we do from circuit boards. So a ton of opportunity for us, and it's about it's getting the first step right first. So circuit boards, getting that commercial piece right, and then we can start addressing other big problems.
That's super exciting.
It is super exciting.
Yeah, Kiwi-founded project. That's really inspiring. So thank you for making the time to share that with us this morning. I'm going to leave some links for Mint's website because there's lots of updates and information about what they're doing and the latest, so you can follow along. As I say, this is a really exciting Kiwi moment, and really excited to watch along and see how that progresses for you.
Awesome. Thanks very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Will.